I would say that a question's being asked that I've never been asked more than ever, and that's what's going on with the market. Paul Daftarian with the Daftarian Group, your Orange County coastal real estate luxury expert. We've got the pleasure of selling some of the most exquisite properties, regardless of price point, throughout the entire coast of Orange County. So it seems like every day I'm getting more and more DMs, text messages, phone calls, and just general people asking me what's going on with the market. Obviously, you see volatility in the stock market. Right now, CNBC published an article out saying that mortgage rates have not been this high since 2000. And for those of you who don't know, check your watch, it's 2023. That's a scary headline news article, kind of like clickbait, if you will, right? Mortgage rates have never been this high since 2000. Well, that could be the case, but they were obviously very low for a very long period of time. And I don't think anybody really thought they'd stay that low forever. However, we didn't think they'd go this high, this fast. A lot of people ask, hey, Paul, you guys sell a lot of your properties in cash. You sell high-end properties. A lot of people are not as concerned with financing as the rest of the country. And I have to say, I differ with that opinion because people that are buying our properties are global in the sense of watching what happens in a micro market here as close as like Newport Coast, where I'm sitting in right now, in a community here called PELICAN CREST, or they're concerned about the whole county, the whole state, the whole country, and the globe itself. Everyone's so connected these days. It doesn't really matter where you're at. You're affected by global markets, Bitcoin prices, interest rates on US lending, what's going on with interest rates being cut in China. Everybody's watching things from a very macro level to make a micro decision. That's, should I buy now? Should I wait? Should I list? Should I start that remodel? So these are all the questions. Should I take cash off the table? You know, if I do sell, can I buy another house? These are the questions that people are asking themselves that I typically find happening in the kitchen table, right? People are deciding, hey, do we want to make a move now? What's our options when we move? Do we need to upsize? Do we need to downsize? So right now, if you talk to our fellow realtors here in coastal Orange County, a lot of our business is coming from the majority, I would say the business is coming from kind of the classic funnels of when the market's really down on inventory, slow as far as new listings hitting, and that's people relocating in and out of the county, more like out of state still happening, people absolutely needing a different floor plan or different space, people empty nesting and just downsizing. That's probably the least I've seen it in the last several years. And more importantly, the other natural things that are like death, divorce, things like that just make a move a force versus something that happens organically. People over the last decade have just been moving at whim. They bought a house they loved, they saw that it shot up in value, and they found another house they loved a little bit more, so they had options. What we're seeing right now is people are feeling pressure. What I mean by that is sellers are feeling pressure. They're feeling pressure, one, the big topic is, I've got a super low interest rate. I've got a rate around 3%, Paul. Am I gonna give that up to go get something, at best case scenario, high fives, maybe high sixes on even adjustable rate mortgage? And the other pressure is, if I go to move, where are my options, right? When I look online organically, I don't really see a lot of homes that are there for me as options. So I feel like even though I can sell for a big premium and make that kind of make me move number happen these days, you lose that low interest rate because a lot of people, even if they're paying cash, they go back and recapitalize the property, they go back and leverage the property, and they get a low interest rate from their bank. They might pull a loan that they had against their investment account, kind of called pledged assets, and they might just put a lien on the property and get some refinance and free up some cash to do other things they wanted. So even a lot of our cash buyers are still, I think, affected using and utilizing financing. So when you go from those threes to the sixes, I mean, don't listen to the media. Sevens is what they're advertising. Those are for what are called conforming loan limits. Our jumbo loan limits here, which, you know, really a lot of our clients are all jumbo borrowers, and that's a certain loan amount. And that rate's actually less than the conforming loan limit rate. So our clients are seeing, again, check with your local lender, but we're seeing people getting rates in the, you know, let's call it the 6% range right now, depending on what type of loan you're talking about. And that's essentially double what a lot of our clients have. I think the average interest rate our clients are living with right now is around 3%. You know, could be in the mid twos, could be in the mid threes. You blend it all together, it's about 3%. That's kind of a gut punch when you're going from 3 to 6. So I think psychologically rates need to get back down to the low fives and hopefully pray to the mortgage gods that we're gonna get something in the high 4s here in the next year or two. Now again, nobody has that crystal ball. You could listen to the smartest people that kind of their expertise is mortgage rates and mortgage-backed securities, and realistically, they're not gonna be able to tell you exactly what's gonna happen next year or the year after. All we know is that we're just watching what the Fed's doing. So people are glued to their phones, tablets, computers, TVs, wondering what's around the corner because it's really paralyzing people right now to make any moves. So when you don't have sellers, you have low inventory. When you still have a hot area like that we live in here in coastal Orange County, you've got a lot of high demand still. But this is the interesting thing. I'm noticing a shift in the market even from a month ago. A month ago, you'd see a lot of homes listed. They were testing new prices. There was record low inventory, still high demand, and people were getting offers. Lots of showings. People are just making offers on things. There was a lot more motivation. I think what I'm seeing happen just even in the last month is when you get these negative headlines like mortgage rates, the highest they've been since 2000, mortgage, the 10-year treasury, the highest it's been since 2007. All these scary clickbait headlines are making people feel like, wait a minute, am I buying at the wrong time? And when you have luxury buyers that don't really need a house, they want something, it doesn't matter, what we're talking about with luxury, these are more wants than needs, it causes pause, right? What we don't want to have happen is people second guess their ability or want or desire to be able to go out and buy these luxury properties. So what do we do as listing agents? We want to make sure we best prepare our clients for success. And that's the right advice at the right time at any given time in any market. And that's why people hire our team, because they feel that we're the local experts in a lot of these different neighborhoods all throughout coastal Orange County. Currently as we sit right here, I'm pretty sure as of today, we've got 4 of the highest 10 sales. So that means out of the top 10 sales in all of Orange County online on the MLS that have transacted, we currently have 4 of those top 10. Now that's amazing, right? We're really proud of our accomplishments, but more importantly, who cares about that? How it benefits our clients is really we've got the expertise to see how to price and present those properties, 2, how to attract the right buyer, and then 3, basically be able to get a buyer in escrow and see it all the way through the finish line. That's probably the most critical component right now, because as you get negative headlines, as you get things that are distractions, as you get second doubts or thoughts in buyers' minds, you've got to be able to stick that deal from the beginning to the end. Again, our business is very simple. You get paid to cross the finish line. That's what our clients hire us for. They're not paying us for a great suit or a pocket square or a nice wristwatch, what kind of car we drive in. They could care less. What really matters is our expertise, our advice, and our ability to attract the right buyer through our marketing, and most importantly, cross the finish line, have that sale close, and then have that be a done deal. Many buyers are getting second doubts, second thoughts right now. We're seeing more deals fall out of escrow definitely right now than we were a month or 2 ago. And again, I'll give you a quick example of why that's happening. You go into a certain market and there's 5 homes for sale. Typically there's 10 or 15. Now there's 5. Now it jumps up to 8 or 9. It gives buyers more options so they feel like they've got a wait and see mindset that might pay off versus I've got to act now or I'll miss out. That fear of loss, FOMO, whatever you want to call it, is what drives real estate prices up, and it definitely keeps a buyer through the escrow all the way to the finish line. That is critical. No one's talking about that right now. I could rattle off stats and I can tell you what's going on in the market in a general format. It doesn't really affect you. If you've got a house, for example, in Corona Del Mar, and it's a tweener, meaning it's not a teardown, it's not brand new construction, and you give your listing agent a price that you want, they've got to be able to shoot you straight and say, hey, listen, this is going to require a remodel. We've got to take your home closer to new construction than a tweener. Because let me tell you, tweeners suffer right now in this market. You've got to identify who you are as a property. I'm saying that metaphorically, but what I mean by that is you've got to have an identity. Are you a teardown? Are you a fixer-upper? Are you kind of almost there on being turnkey? Or are you brand new construction? That's what we come in and give you the expert advice. Again, home I'm sitting in right now, it's a beautiful neoclassical style home here at 21 SKYRIDGE in Pelican Crest. We're listed right below $20 million, sitting at over 11,000 square feet. This property was remodeled and brought back to its original beauty from about 20 or so years ago, and the owner wanted to keep the theme of that neoclassical look. So when we staged the property and the lighting was brought in, the landscaping was redone, we were able to input on how that really appeared to make the home seem cohesive. We weren't going to put modern furniture in this house to kind of give it an identity crisis. What we wanted to do is make it have one theme to kind of cast our net to attract that kind of buyer. And as I stand here right now, we're in escrow with a buyer that loves the house, shocker, they're buying it furnished. So we did a great job with our Stager Ambiance home to furnish the property in a updated way, but not make it too modern and not make it too traditional, kind of give it that transitional vibe to make the house have a multi kind of faceted identity, to kind of soften it down from being gold and a little bit, kind of gilded and some of those ornate materials, kind of tone that down with the furniture to give it a nice balanced feel. But that comes through advice, that comes through being able to convince and persuade a seller, because a seller that gets through a remodel or builds something new, they kind of have the mentality of the house sells itself. It doesn't. That last little bit is like you going out and buying your dream car that you're saving, kind of it's on your vision board, or you're saving kind of in your mental piggy bank to go out and buy something crazy like a dream car, but it has the wrong interior color. It doesn't typically happen that way. And if it does, you're gonna try to ask for a discount. And that's what we see with buyers these days. They know they're paying at the peak of the market. They know they're paying the highest price in the history of the community for any kind of, I would say, category of home, but they need to feel like they can move right in, have compensating factors like convenience. Hey, can I buy it furnished, right? Do I have to wait another year to get furniture in, then finally throw my housewarming party, or at least have my family over? 2, is the house kind of feel seamless, meaning does it have home automation? Does it have everything set up where I can literally bring my toothbrush? We've seen for the past 5 or 10 years, this whole kind of bring your toothbrush model of, and your clothes, obviously, and your cars and your family. But the point is, move right in. Don't buy it, have to remodel it, go through that pain point, worry about furniture, obviously post-COVID, and the issues of supply chain issues of, hey, I called the Restoration Hardware and it took me 3, 6, 9, 12 months to get the pieces I wanted, and I've got a sectional couch with chunks missing out of it, or pieces that don't make it look really completed. So people are living in this kind of home purgatory, if you will, for a long time. That's what these fully staged properties. A lot of homeowners are like, I don't need to stage the house. The house is beautiful. If they can't, I've heard this line so many times. If they can't see what the house can be, they shouldn't buy it. Well, listen, that works when buyers feel like they're getting a deal. When you're asking someone to pay a premium, you have to make them feel good. So we understand how to make buyers feel good through the process. So once we cast our marketing net, we get them to the property, we make it feel effortless for them to be able to pay that dollar amount the seller's looking for. In this gate we stand in right now, we have the 2 highest sales in the history of the community. One SKYRIDGE at 34 million, which we represented both sides, and one PELICAN CREST, which was an older property, but had phenomenal views, and that traded at almost 33,600,000 with all the furniture. And the reality is both those sales required a certain level of presentation, negotiation, marketing, patience, kind of keeping the seller out of the process of getting the buyer up to a certain point where they didn't want to kind of blow the deal up. And then at the end, getting that through the escrow process, because these big 10, 12,000 square foot properties, home inspectors have a heyday with them. Even brand new homes, you get lists and pages and lists of like scary things that the home inspector tells you about how the house is, obviously not as great as you thought it was when you went into escrow. Our expertise calming people down, bringing in the right people to kind of calm that buyer down, to give them assurance, to give them confidence to close, is really how these sales happen. There'll be other higher price sales in the future, but right now at this moment, there's a pain point between where buyers are like, listen, if I'm gonna pay you all the money you're asking, I better not have other pain throughout the deal. And that means not getting my repairs credited, not having you do things for me. They really kind of want white glove service. And even though the seller is not wanting to do that, that's where the agent acts as the intermediary with either the buyer directly or another buyer's agent to kind of make that process feel painless. And that's what people are wanting these days. Again, it's very interesting. I was just last week, I was in this car show, or it's called Monterey Car Week. I was at an event called Quail, and they're launching all these new cars. And the interesting thing is, majority of the people that are there have not bought enough vehicles for the dealer to sell you one of these things brand new. And they're astronomical prices. I mean, whether it's 200 grand or $6 million for a vehicle, people are not gonna be able to get them from the dealership, from the manufacturer. Those original buyers are, and they'll take them on the secondary market, and people have to pay exorbitant prices over what they know the manufacturer actually charged. Now, how do they get away with this? It's scarcity, it's supply and demand. If someone buys a car for $350,000, which is outrageous, right? But that's what for example, Lamborghini Urus costs, or Urus as they say, costs these days. But if you want one now, you might have to be 50, 100,000 over. And they're gonna scare you and say, hey, they're gonna be all hybridized, or they're gonna not have the same kind of noise they do now. So people get in a frenzy to buy what's available and they'll pay more. Again, real estate's not that harder to figure out. If you have a house that's new construction or newly renovated or turnkey, you save the buyer from dealing with all the unknowns of remodeling. So that's why those homes get so much more money. It's the same philosophy, it's supply and demand. Now, what dictates supply and demand in each other industries, we don't need to get into, but when it comes to real estate, what's happening right now is you're seeing more inventory slowly trickle out, and a lot of the high priced properties, and again, if you stay kind of in that $2 to $5 million range, let's call it throughout coastal Orange County, you're not seeing a lot of inventory because those people are really having a harder time throwing away or getting rid or losing those low rates and going to the new higher ones. But you'll see once rates drop, which we all think they will, to the 5s and God willing, high 4s, you're gonna see those people moving. So here's my reason I'm telling you all this. Right now, the market is definitely a seller's market. However, you have to speak the buyer's language. And hiring a listing agent that understands how to speak both languages can bring the process together, come up with a really relevant, active for today's market, for what's happening, listing strategy so that you have a better chance to win. Now, how do you win? Get more money in shorter days and time and have a clean escrow and not kind of fall in and out of escrow. Again, if you ask our clients, you can just see our testimonials, they don't really talk about, I got more money for my house, I didn't have to do more credits. They don't talk about a lot of those details. At the end of it, of course, they know the amount of money they made on the house when they sold it, gross and net, but really what they talk about is the experience. Right now, you could be a seller and you can still sell with insanely ease. And what I mean by that is you can sell a house for a record price or a market leading price and not have to be on the market 3, 6, or 9 months. You don't have to hold open houses every weekend. You don't have to go into escrow once or twice or 3 times because that creates unpredictability. Most of our clients have gotten to a place in their lives where they can afford these high-priced luxury properties because they do things with predictability. They don't like surprises. And I don't think enough people talk about that in our market. People don't, if someone said, hey, I gotta sit on the market for 9 months and not feel like, and again, if you're living in the house, right? Not every home is sold vacant. So if you're living in the house, your life's kind of on pause. Your next house you buy might be on pause. Your schedule's on pause. Really, you're kind of like having that home ownership experience pause while you're for sale, whether you live in it or not. And a lot of our clients don't like that unpredictability. It creates an uneasiness in their mind, in their lives, and their overall just feeling about a process. That's one thing I gotta tell you, our clients across the board like to have predictable outcomes. So if we can say, look, if you sell now versus next year, the year after, we can almost predict within a few percentage points of how much your house is gonna sell for, and more importantly, how long it's gonna take. You know, some of the homes, you've got to wait months to get your price. We just sold One Island Vista in the same community for about $24.5 million. Again, represented the seller and the buyer on that one. And how we had to kind of tackle that one was because we knew the seller wanted a certain price, and that one had an indoor pool, no outdoor pool. It was a great property, but it wasn't kind of 100 people walked in and 100 people said it was kind of what they were looking for. In that case, we were looking for a buyer who matched up with everything that the house was and appreciated all the exquisite stonework and the money that went into the house. You know, sellers hire us to find a match for their property and give them money or a dollar amount for every inch of the house. Meaning, if somebody were to buy that house at One Island Vista, they go, I love all of it, but I don't really value the basement or the garage. Well, guess what? They're probably not gonna give you the price they want. That's really kind of the psychology that we understand and have mastered, is find the right buyer, or at least get a buyer to understand they're buying the whole house. This isn't a cafeteria process where you get to pick and choose what parts of a house you like and give a seller that dollar amount. You've got to basically pay up for everything under roof and all the things that the house is and is not. And that's really what I think we do better than anybody, is make people realize the value, get them so kind of focused on getting into the property. And in this area, we've just seen massive appreciation. So you just got to get on board. I know so many clients in 2020, 21, 22, and 23 that maybe didn't buy their dream home. You know, what I'm saying is maybe they made some concessions, right? Maybe they got everything they wanted, but they missed 1 or 2 items. But again, on a broad spectrum, they got 80, 90% of what they wanted instead of expecting or demanding 100%. And what ends up happening is they bought a house and they've seen this last market appreciation. I'll tell you, in the zip code of 92657, which covers Newport Coast and Crystal Cove, we've seen for new construction ocean view properties a 20% increase in some cases. That's dramatic. And that's in the lower end price range and all the way at the top and everything in between. At the same time, homes that have an identity crisis that come out to the market at new turnkey prices end up sitting and end up listing at a higher price and having price reductions and ultimately selling for less. It's always better to come out strong in price, sell faster, than to sit there and wait on the market. But it's full circle, going back to the One Island Vista, it took us about, I would say, 6 or so months to find the right buyer to match up with everything the house was and to pay what the seller expected as a fair minimum price, but what the buyer felt was top dollar, but they both got what they wanted. And that's the intricate part we played when we were able to communicate and negotiate with both sides, the seller and the buyer of that particular property. So as I sit here right now at the tail end of August 2023, what is the message I'm trying to send to our clients and future clients? That this is an amazing time to be a seller. You might want to think about selling today versus waiting for when rates will most likely drop, waiting for the economic data to come out and it being worse than we think, or waiting for something like, may I say, a natural disaster. We just went through this weekend, Hurricane Hillary, which was supposed to be a Category 4 hurricane downgraded to a tropical storm, and really it was just some wind and rain. So these kind of situations are unexpected. It could have been a Category 4 hurricane. I don't know. The windows could have got blown out on all of our listings. We had a situation, and this is interesting, we're representing a buyer on a beautiful kind of iconic property in Balboa, and that property is massive. It's over 11,000 square feet, and we're representing the buyer. He's paying close to $30 million for the property, and it sits on the water, and it's got a boat dock, and it's right next to the jetty. And obviously, if it was a massive storm, if a major amount of water or rain or just wind damaged the property, we're supposed to close literally tomorrow. Guess what? There's no closing. And the interesting thing is that the insurance company that was issued insurance on the property before, right when we were getting ready to have the closing take place, they put a moratorium on offering insurance. Now, I want you to think about this. That means they basically suspended the insurance being issued to the property, and because the buyer was using a loan or is using a loan to purchase, he couldn't close. So we went back. We had asked for a favor, went to the higher ups at this insurance company, kind of gave them a better picture and kind of came up with some additional information, and we were able to get them to issue the insurance. But I can promise you this, that since the storm was here yesterday, Sunday, and was supposed to be here Monday a little bit, by the way, it's sunny and blue skies outside here in Orange County, California. The point is, that deal would have closed on Tuesday. If that particular seller or buyer didn't end up connecting, weeks back, and let's say this storm hit and it was worse, then that seller can't sell the house. And what I mean by that is you can't get too greedy and you can't assume sunny skies are gonna last forever. And what I mean by that is if you have an opportunity to seize ease of selling a very expensive item, which these luxury homes are, and also the price being at the peak of the market at any particular point. I mean, this property that I'm mentioning in Balboa essentially is an iconic property. It's been listed multiple times before, and the owner tried to sell it for years. And we are finally getting the job done because we brought it to our buyer. They weren't even looking in that area. And what they kind of saw was that it checks a lot of boxes in which they didn't even know they had until walking into this particular property. But through the escrow, we worked with the listing agent seamlessly to make the process kind of easier for both parties, which were high stress levels. And that's how we got to the closing table. I think if the current listing agent and us weren't involved, this deal wouldn't have happened. It would have been another season or year that this house would have been trying to sell, right? And that's the difference. Our business, again, is about crossing the finish line. You list a house, doesn't mean you sell. And there's nothing more disappointing than a seller thinking they have a trophy property and them thinking it's gonna sell immediately for a certain price. When that doubt sets in, it's not pretty. And what a good agent, or really a great agent's gonna do, is shoot you straight, be able to make you understand that maybe the way you're thinking or the strategy that you have in place right now for this particular listing or property is not to your advantage, meaning overpricing something doesn't benefit a seller. You end up selling it for more 9 out of 10 times. Not doing things like landscaping or staging, or maybe just kind of, may I say, selling the home kind of giving the unfinished feeling. That's not what these buyers today want, right? So you've got to deliver the product, meaning the house, and the experience that buyers today want in order to basically grab them across the finish line. I've noticed a lot of homes falling out of escrow. Now, getting back to my kind of wrap up on my point here, you've got to talk to, let's say, a listing agent or a team like us that has their hand on the pulse and all these different price points and all these different neighborhoods all throughout coastal Orange County so that you can get the right information to be able to make an informed decision. Like, is it a good time to sell right now? No, because there's a few, and what I mean no, I'm just thinking of a certain scenario here. A client called me over the weekend and said, hey, I've got this property, Paul, you sold it to me 5 years ago. We want to move from it. Should we sell now? And I said no, because I know there's 2 homes that are being built that will be on the market in about 45 to 60 days, and they're gonna be at brand new prices. They're gonna be at ridiculously high prices. So when you come on at that time, you're gonna look like the value play versus if you come on right now, you're gonna be the highest priced home in the whole community. So it's all about timing. And that's really where expertise, market knowledge, and mastering, kind of being the local expert offers you. You know what's happening with your own properties and your own coming soons and off markets. But more importantly, we work cohesively with the other top agents so they let us know, hey, I've got this property coming around the corner, or at a minimum, we know the neighborhoods because we drive them every day of what is being renovated, who is really gonna be a seller, and what's the price gonna be at, so that way we can give our clients the right advice. In that case, in this instance, it was a no to selling now. It was let's wait a few months. I've got another one in mind that we're telling them, hey, wait for the end of this year, early next year for other certain reasons. And some other homeowners, maybe especially the ones that fall in that tweener category, we're telling people list right now. You could see it happen in Shady Canyon. A few months ago, we had a record sale there with 70 Golden Eagle. It sold over $1,500 price per square foot, which is unprecedented. Now, since that sale, a home sold for $25 million, the most expensive home ever in Irvine to sell. That's a big deal. Congratulations to the listing agent, the buyer's agent, the seller and buyer on that one. That's a monumental sale. The issue is when we listed Golden Eagle, 70 Golden Eagle, there was 3 or 4 homes for sale. Now there's 11 or 12. That's, do the math. I mean, the listings went up by 4x, right? That creates 2 bad things if you're a seller. Creates unnecessary competition. 2, it gives the buyers the wait and see mentality. We have not had that wait and see mentality. And with luxury items, you want that kind of instinct to kick in, like the I gotta have it instinct. And that happens when you list at the right time, the property presents a certain way, and you price it right. That's where contacting us, the Daftarian Group, is gonna make all the difference because we're gonna give you the right advice. What I've noticed, I've seen agents buying listings. They go, see a property's worth a certain amount, and they inflate the price, and they do that. Now again, if a seller wants to list a house at a certain price and you choose to work with them, it's their property. We're here to be advisors. We're not decision makers, and that's critical, right? They're the captains of the ship. We're just steering it, and they're telling us how to steer it. But if we see choppy waters ahead, we know we're about to hit an iceberg, we let them know, and we've got the track record for trust. They let us steer the ship to safety and avoid any danger, and that's what this market's gonna cause. It has been smooth sailing. Rough seas are coming ahead because you're gonna see more inventory. You're gonna see homes that are not as renovated or have new construction kind of aesthetics to what's out there, and they're gonna want that new construction price. And that's where working with the rightest listing agent, having the right pricing strategy, and just as important, presentation, and then layers in your marketing. I want to chat with you about one other big thing. This is a big topic here in coastal Orange County. There's a lot of out-of-town agents coming into coastal Orange County, and people ask us all the time, hey, these agents are coming out of town. They've got, a TV show behind them. They've got, millions of followers on social media platforms. That's kind of a PR firm or a marketing package that some of us local agents can't offer. And what I can tell you is that if you look at our neighborhoods, which is Newport Coast, Newport Beach, Corona Del Mar, Laguna Beach, some parts of Irvine, even south, and all this kind of coastal area that we consider, still 50 to 75% of the buyers are coming right here from Orange County. The other thing I'll tell you is a lot of the buyers that we've been noticing coming from LA or the Bay Area or other states, guess what? They're not bringing their agent with them. They want to work with a local expert who understands the difference between a Pelican Crest and a Pelican Point. They want to know the difference between being on the ocean side of PCH or the non-ocean side. They want to know what the impact of pricing is of a house being in a certain school district versus the other. And typically, the locals that have been selling for years here are going to have that information readily available without having to go and look it up. Secondly, they want to work with an agent who's got the connections, the rapport, and the history with all these other agents and homeowners, so that way they can get the right advice to make the right decision. Now, again, I'm not knocking out of area agents. Again, our company's just going on 11 years in existence here in coastal Orange County, and we were the newcomers as far as luxury real estate just a little over a decade ago. But we made a commitment to be a part of the community. We made a commitment to work cohesively with our other agents, and we made a commitment to try to better our communities and not take away from them. How do we do that? Underselling properties, not knowing how to price something, not having the relationships with other agents and continue flourishing all these different communities, because Orange County has been, I would say, undervalued for the past decade, and now it's finally getting the pricing that it should. It shouldn't be that you could go spend $5,000 in Los Angeles and get a similarly built home for $1,000 a square foot, price per square foot I'm talking here. And now that you've seen homes sell for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 along the coast here in Orange County, you're seeing bigger sales at that $40, $50, $60 million mark, even $70 million mark, which has really been unprecedented here in Orange County. And again, I want to make it clear, I'm not knocking any agents, but what I will tell you is that the marketing hype, the TV shows, the social media followers, again, most of the clients that I can tell you that we've sold properties to did not find the property on social media. They found it on the MLS. They found it through the platforms through the MLS. They found it by going to an open house. They found it digitally first. Now, enhancements of social media, geographic targeting through all those different platforms, and marketing out of state, out of country is all part of the process, but the internet has made a clear, level playing field. You can outspend, our small brokerage can outspend a mega brokerage because that listing agent controls the budget on the marketing. Furthermore, you want to hire an agent who's present. And what I don't mean physically have to have a presence here. You can hire an agent from wherever you want, but they should be at least 50% of your showings. They should just not be that listing agent. They shouldn't delegate the entire process out to another team, because these luxury properties do require some hand-holding. And you can look at our brokerage, our team, the Daftarian Group, as a case study. Every single year since 2013, we've doubled in size every other year. And this year, we're about to have a better year in sales volume than even last year, which most companies are not able to say that. Because we're the local teams, because we've got a lot of rapport and experience with a lot of the other agents, and more importantly, our clients, we've been able to put deals together where I don't think other agents would have been able to, and our numbers speak for themselves. Having 4 out of the highest 10 sales in all the price points and all the different neighborhoods throughout Orange County is something we're very proud of. But again, who cares? We're not here to tip our own hat. What we're here to tell you is, in this changing market, we've got a winning formula to be able to get the house presented, priced, and shown properly. We've got obviously the right marketing strategy, and more importantly, we know how to find the buyer and bring them to the closing table and finish across that finish line and win for both sides of the deal, versus a lot of these homes that are just sitting, going into escrow, falling out. So I'm not here to knock anyone else. I'm just telling you that our formula for this day and age in this kind of market has obviously proven results. And what I suggest to any seller, even if you've got a chosen listing agent, and again, this advice goes to a buyer, you have options. You can call, and us agents, we come and speak to you for free. There's no consulting fee. You interview us, but in the sense you're getting all this information. And I've had clients say, hey, you know what? I've got to go with this agent because they brought me the property when I decided to buy it, and I feel obligated to them. They still met with me and my team, and we gave them great advice. And they came back and said, hey, we're still going to go with the other agent. But that interview process gave us a wealth of knowledge that we weren't even thinking about, and put ideas in our head to kind of better list the property. And I mean this when I say it. Every sale matters in this market. That's why we want everybody to be successful. When I mean every seller and every buyer, because right now we don't want to have that image that the neighborhood's too overpriced, or things aren't moving fast or quick enough, and there's not enough buyers for what's out there. And that's really the difference between being a local expert, having a vested interest in the community, and being kind of the unspoken ambassadors, like a lot of us agents are, for all these different neighborhoods, to be able to kind of make sure we safeguard a lot of the successes and equity that our clients have built over the last decade. So how do we clear up all this confusion? Really, what's going on with the market? Are prices going up? Is inventory going up? Or rates going down? How are they going to impact my market? It's pretty simple. Just call the expert, right? We're here 24/7. Through text, through email, through social media DMs, through old school, just pick up the phone and call. People call me every day throughout the entire day, and call my team to ask us what's going on with the market. Tell me about this particular sale. How does it impact me? It all comes full circle back to really what's my house worth today, because I don't trust Zillow or any of these other sites because they're not accurate or detailed enough. Secondly, if I do want to sell, what's my house going to be worth? What's it going to sell for? How long is it going to take? And also, what else can I find? I think the last thing I didn't kind of mention in our videos are we're doing a large portion of our house hunting and identifying off market for our clients. And maybe it's not a true off market, maybe it's going to be ready in a month or two, but we know about it. If it's our own listing, of course, but working closely with the other kind of local trusted agents to be able to deliver information to clients to maybe say, hey, we're going to take something to you and we'll get first crack at it before it hits like the general public and you have to go in some kind of bidding war, or maybe obviously just getting you in and off market. And those are the benefits of dealing with the Daftarian Group. Again, getting a hold of us is very simple. You know all the different platforms. We're available 24/7, 7 days a week to help answer any questions you have and obviously be your trusted, chosen listing and buyer's agents. We're here to help our community and our neighbors.